Welcome in, Cowboys Nation, to the Game Day Live post-game show powered by BT Furnishings, where the Cowboys fall in an absolute thriller, nail-biter, whatever you want to call it, on the road against the Eagles, 28-23. And, I mean, you want to talk about a roller coaster of a game, and I'm going to try to be as professional with this one as possible. At some point, we'll get to you know, the big thing that kind of ruined what I think is was a classic NFC East battle with the Cowboys have somehow, some way having a shot to win it down there. But one of the things I talked about coming into this game was you're going to win or lose this game where, Jesse?
Trenches.
In the trenches. And in the moment down there at the line of scrimmage to go win the game, Terrence Steele might have had one of his worst games I've seen since 2020. Dak takes the sack, and we're kind of up to a Hail Mary situation to end the game. Well, 2 plays you got, but you have no timeout. So that's kind of how it ended. How it got to that point was just absolute madness and wildness. And this one hurts because you had a shot right there at the end, and it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating because, you know, you fried up that secondary like we talked about. You know, you did everything you needed to do. I'm not quite ready to talk about the other thing just quite yet, Jesse, but I do want to get your overall thoughts on the actual players playing prior to the other thing there.
You know, first and foremost, we talked about this game being another litmus test, right? A midterm exam, and you know, for the most part, you know, much better prepared, much more level-headed than they were against the game against San Francisco 49ers. This was a game that you know, the Niners game was pretty much a game that I didn't see us winning. It didn't feel like we were going to win that game throughout that game. This game felt like a game. The Cowboys were up at junctures in this game, up at halftime. And then, you know, some things here and there, but they played a much better game. They played up to the competition. You know, if Philadelphia, if people want to crown Philadelphia being the best team in the National Football League, then I like the way the Dallas Cowboys came out and played them. I mean, I'm never one for moral victories, never have been, never will be. But I was pleased to see, especially from the certain people, right? I said it before, Dak needed to have one of those unbutton the shirt, loosen up the tie, step aside the booth, Superman is alive type games. I think he had one of those games today. We knew that our offensive line had been shaky coming into the game, even with Tyron Smith and what they presented up front. You knew you weren't going to be able to, like all the things that we talked about, you knew you weren't going to be able to run the ball that well. They tried it, 73 total yards rushing the football, but you had guys like Jake Ferguson step up, 10 targets, 7 receptions, 91 yards, and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb still on an absolute tear, 16 targets, 11 receptions, 191 yards. And you've seen guys defensively step up and play some really good brand of football. They shut down, but they limited A.J. Brown. 9 targets, 7 receptions, 66 yards, and 1 touchdown. So this is a guy who's been on an absolute tear. The Eagles didn't do anything today that was just overly powerful that you're like, man, we just can't stop that. And they eked one out on the Dallas Cowboys. It really came. The difference was the third quarter. That was the difference of the game. The third quarter was the overall difference of this football game.
The difference, let's just be honest. The difference in this game was, for whatever reason, those wearing the black and white had to insert themselves into this. And I hate doing this because, you know, I just hate doing it. But I'd be remiss, I'd be irresponsible not to bring up the 20 total penalties that were called. And not called, I'm sorry, that were accepted. Not even, I don't even know how many. It might have been 25, damn near 30 that were actually called, maybe some declined. But this had, and if it did end up finishing as a classic battle in the NFC East. But man, if they didn't just insert themselves unnecessarily in this one at pivotal and critical moments in this game, it was frustrating to see. Now on the field, difference is kind of goes back to what I was saying at the top of this, where you had to block it up. And you got down there at the 11-yard line. I thought we should have just took 1, 2, 3 shots to the end zone, just jump balls, whatever. Get as many opportunities as possible. I don't like having to drop back and then hold, especially when your pass blocking hadn't been consistent. Terrence Steele was struggling so much on that right side, and what happened, that it ended up taking a couple sacks there. It just was sad to see there. But, yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but I do think in that the third quarter, which was the turning point, if you will, in the third quarter, there was too many times where those Zebras inserted themselves and it just ruined what felt like a quality battle. It ended up finishing that way, but man, it was frustrating to see. And this one is going to be tough for them, I think, to swallow, because I think they felt like we were the better team. And if you go look at this thing here, the only thing you really weren't better at in this game was blocking the pass rush in those moments you needed to.
Yeah, he gave up 5 sacks on the night for Dak Prescott. But, we talk about it all the time.
He escaped a lot of them.
Yes. Yeah, he did. But, the thing, taking kind of personal ownership for the Cowboys is it's a game of inches. And I think the Cowboys had their opportunities. You look at, the 2 biggest plays that we'll go back and we'll look over this week. And you can go back and say it's the referee's call. But, rookie mistake by Luke Schoonmaker, not understanding where you're at on the football field. You're always taught in those critical downs, 4th downs, I got to go be either, if I'm going to the first down, I have to go beyond the sticks. If I'm going for a touchdown, I have to be in the end zone. You come up, literally your knee goes down outside of the end. Your knee goes down, one leg's in the end zone, knee goes down, the ball's outside of the end zone, right? That's one of those deals where you go, boy, you would hope that there's a much more experienced guy that's making that play because they would know how to play that. Give yourself that cushion of being in the end zone. And then, of course, the 2-point play, because if you get the 2-point play from Dak Prescott, if he doesn't step out of bounds, the score is 25. And when they're in that position, they'll kick the field goal the drive prior to the last drive that they have. So it's things like that happen in the course of a football game. And there's probably many other things that we can pick out in this game. But those are 2 of the glaring things that come about. You think about, man, this game is a game of inches. And sometimes when you don't grab that inch, when you don't get that blade of grass, like they said, at any given Sunday, it can at times results in the results being not in your favor.
Game of inches, man. You talk about the knee going down as Reed is tackling Schoonmaker. You're talking about the 2-point conversion. You're talking about the fumbles, right? I mean, just inches away. They scored touchdown when Swift fumbles. We don't recover that. The end of the game, which it ended up didn't really matter because you got back down there. But at the end of that game, there's a fumble. There's one more missing. Oh, the Jalen Hurts fumble on the first drive, was it? When they went down and scored a touchdown, I think he fumbled. They recovered it and ended up scoring again. So yeah, man, it was just a highly contested, competitive game.
Wasn't that a Swift fumble? He fumbled twice.
Yeah, he fumbled at the end of the game and he fumbled at the beginning.
Right.
But Sam Williams got a sack fumble, a strip.
Oh yes, you're right. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, we didn't recover it. So
it popped up and it fell right back into his hand like a reception.
The funny thing, also, game of inches. CeeDee Lamb gets the ball about 2 yards short of the end zone, and with nobody to pitch it back to, just so dang close with so many of these things. But and it's really gonna just sting. But this was, at the end of the day, football wise, it was a fantastic game. Back and forth. Both teams, I think, showed everything that they had. Like these 2 teams look like 2 of, if not the 2 best teams in the NFC, and they'll get a chance to run it back at the crib for the Cowboys. But for right now, falling back 5-3, Philly, I think, is going on the bye. That's going to sting. You got some. The schedule isn't crazy the next couple weeks, but NFL, we've seen it around the league. You can't really take any team for granted, but you got to kind of make up now for a loss like this over the next few weeks until that gauntlet happens towards the end of the year, where you get Philly again, Detroit and Miami and Buffalo, and it's going to get crazy. So you got to make up for this one. There's no such thing as moral victories, but if I'm in that locker room, I'm not hanging my head at all. I feel like we went out. Yeah, I mean, how would y'all, as a former player, this one sucks, 100%. But I feel like if I was a player, I'd be ready to go line up again and get at them right now.
Yeah, no, it sucks. Like that. Let that be the main thing we talk about. Absolutely sucks to be in this position, because you look at the game, and when they go back and watch the game, like they're gonna go back and they're gonna watch. Man, if Dak was a size 9 instead of a size 12, it's a 2-point conversion. If Luke, Micah Parsons, like literally Swift fumbles, Micah Parsons falls on the ball and it like pops out.
It gets kicked out.
It gets, what I'm saying? So they're going to go back and they're going to kick themselves even more, because they're going to say, boy, did we have a number of chances to win this football game. And in some areas, we didn't even play our best. So they're going to be able to take that away from this game. But it sucks. It hurts right now, man. That locker room is stunned. That locker room is stone cold quiet. and you got to get on the bus and head back to the airport, and you got to ride through those Philly fans. You got to hear the Philly crowd on your way out, and get on the plane and come back, and get ready for next week. But this one sucks. And of course, you and I both know how the national media is going to take this. They're going to say, well, when the Cowboys play the Jets, the Giants, and the teams that are less than them, they whoop up on them. But when they go against the likes of the Niners and the Philadelphia, the better teams in the league, they're going to say that the Cowboys aren't enough to compete with those teams. I think when if you watch this game and you go back and you look at this game, the Cowboys did more than enough to win this game. More than enough to win this game. It sucks, man. This one sucks. This one bothers me a little bit because and I know people are going to say, well, Jesse, you picked Philadelphia anyway. I did pick Philadelphia to win the football game. I always pick them to split. I say the Cowboys win at home, Philadelphia wins in a row. But I did say if the Cowboys were going to win this thing, they needed to do exactly what they did today. Literally, I said, if they do exactly what they did today, they could win this football game. And they did it, and it sucked that they came up a few inches short of victory.
Yeah, they're going to go back, I think, and look at some of these games where, you're losing these tight battles and say 10 penalties, right? 10 plus penalties. You can't have those. Some of those weren't some controversial infractions, right? Like, for instance, the way that drive at the end of the game, Jesse, it really started with a full start. At the 11-yard line, that was the play that kind of pushed them back. Instead of being at the 11, they go to the 16, and then the next play it's a sack, and then the next play is incomplete. Yeah. If you don't have that, and if I was telling you, I think I was up here when it happened, when Jalen Carter goes across the line of scrimmage, you need to snap the ball for a free play. So there's going to be little things like this that is going to eat at them in the sense of, man, we still had a shot, even with the ridiculous referees on both sides here, even with, crazy things happening. It's little stuff like that. You can't full start. You have to snap the ball so you can get that free play because really 5 yards, it really wasn't 5 yards, half of this to the goal. So it's 2.5 yards you're getting on the offsides and then sack. And that just really puts you in the hole right there. So, they're going to go back and see that, man, we had an opportunity to win this game at the end and we kind of shot ourselves in the foot. But yeah, it's a tough one, man. Tough one to take one here. This one actually, I think, and this goes back to the old adage, would you rather lose in a blowout or would you rather lose tight? This one stings a little bit more to me, than what happened in the 49ers. You just got your butt whooped. Like, you just got your butt absolutely whooped. And this one, I just think this was two of the best teams in the NFC, if not the two best teams, scrapping and going at it back and forth, even when it looked like it was bleak, right? Cowboys down by double digits, they fight back into the game. When it looked like it was bleak, Jalen Hurts goes down with the knee. They come out, score two huge touchdowns that puts them ahead. Both of these teams fought, scrapped, and they showed, again, to me, and this might not just be just in this conference, but maybe in the National Football League, that these two teams, I think, can go up against anybody and potentially take them down. So, it just sucks on the Cowboys end that they couldn't finish there at the end.
Yeah, man. And shout out to Philadelphia. They the way that they won today, honestly, when you go back and you watch their season, it's how they really won all year long. Just find a way.
Yeah, find a way, right.
And they've literally just been a find a way team. Like, yes, they've had A.J. Brown be on a tear the last 6 games, but overall, they've just found a way. Last week they were in a battle with the Washington Commanders. They just found a way. They were down in that football game. And they scratched and clawed their way back, and they just found a way to win at the end. Find a way to win at the end, because you look at, Jalen Hurts 207 yards passing, sacked 3 times. They Swift 43 yards rushing. AJ Brown under 75. If I told you, you know what, Jalen Hurts would have under 225 yards passing, A.J. Brown would have under 75 yards receiving, and they wouldn't have a single rusher over 100 yards prior to this game starting, you would say, I'll take it.
I'll say, what's the catch?
I'll take it, right? What's the catch?
What's the damn catch, Jesse? The catch.
Like I said, when you look at the numbers, I was looking at the numbers like briefly as we were coming in. I looked at team stats and the personal stats, and I was just like, the Cowboys won in damn near every area. Except the scoreboard. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's all that matters. But the catch is that you have to say, okay, yeah, he does this, he does that, they do this, they do that, but they score 4 touchdowns.
That's it right
That's
there.
the catch, right? Like,
Catch.
do they score 4 touchdowns? And that's what happened. You had the 2 touchdowns, 2 deep, well, not 2 deep balls, 1 deep ball to, what a fantastic throw, by the way, to Devontae Smith. And that was one of the things we said. What will happen when we get deep balls to Deron Bland? Touchdown on one, the other one not so much. And then a great play call that we talk about, that split zone play action with the wide receiver coming behind. It's money, man. It's usually money 9 times out of 10 for the touchdown. And then obviously the push tush thing for the touchdown. So if you tell me, and then a running touchdown, you tell me all that, but they get 4 touchdowns, I say, well, the Cowboys is going to probably have to obviously score 30 points. And that was the number they need to reach, and they could not reach it. BT Furnishings, this is the post-game show presented by BT Furnishings. Make sure you guys stop by. It's fun, fast, and easy in any of the 4 locations in Dallas. If you need mattresses to furnish your home, or if you need any type of decor, hit those guys up down there at BT Furnishing, your one-stop shop. They got a buy more, save more sale going on right now. So if you spend $999, you save $100. If you spend $19.99, you save $300. And we still got the Skywalker special going on right now, where if you purchase the reclining sofa and the love seat, you will also get a free recliner for only $9.99. So if you're looking for quality furniture at an amazing price, stop into one of the locations in Arlington, Dallas, Garland, and Plano, or go to btfurnishings.com. Darlington. Jeff Darlington. I combined Dallas and Arlington. And Garlington and combine all these things, man. But don't forget, actually, no, we're on something different tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow as we kind of break this down furthermore. And man, once again, just a tough pill to swallow in this one, as the Cowboys fall 23-28, move to 5-3 with New York up next at home, and I'm not sure what happened with them. But kind of final thoughts on the game, Jesse.
Man, this is one of those ones where, even though you were probably not counted to win this game, you had an opportunity. You had an opportunity to close that gap in the NFC East with winning this game against Philadelphia, giving your team some winning confidence as you head into this next stretch of games. But let this be a lesson for the Cowboys, right? Like every down matters. Every down matters. You never know when that opportunity is going to come back up and say, man, if I would have gotten across the goal line, boy, if I would have kept my foot in bounds, if I would have, done these things in the proper manner, would have had the chance to win there. The Cowboys have to do something up front with that offensive line. You got to still try to figure out ways to protect better. You can't have 5 sacks in a football game. You just that's not a recipe for.
And they can't go on the other, like all on one side either. Like they can't happen.
Exactly. Yeah, and it can't come from one side. So the Cowboys they still have some work to do. But I'm pleased to see. I will say this. I'm pleased to see that Dak is playing at a level now where he looks in complete control. Like he looks like he's been released from the shackles of whatever the Texas Coast offense was for the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Mm-hmm. He seems like he's in much more control. Yeah. He understands now that I have to be a threat with my legs. He understands that I have to be able to be mobile in the pocket, extend plays. I love the fact that you're starting to see now Jake Ferguson emerge. He had a career high day today. That's going to be key. Nice. That's going to be vital. I didn't even get to it in the stats before the game, but the tight ends have been getting more involved. They 20% more. 20% of the targets have been going to the tight ends, and 75% of that has been going to Jake Ferguson. So now when you start emerging and giving yourself that consistent over the middle option, and Jake Ferguson who can make plays for you, and then CeeDee Lamb, he's continuing to ascend into that conversation. Boy. Almost a 200-yard night tonight. That's going to be critical. That's going to be key, that relationship between Dak and CeeDee Lamb continues to grow, continues to blossom, because we're close. We're close. We're getting there. The Cowboys are close to getting there. And when you get later in the season, you're going to need your number one guy to be there for you. And I think their relationship is starting to blossom even more. And you're starting to see CeeDee Lamb ascend into that conversation of being one of the best receivers in the National Football League. So there's some good things to take away from this football game. The Cowboy fans, the Cowboys players, you can go back and you can watch some things, but there's also some things that you're going to kick yourself in the butt and go, if we could just do that one thing or those couple things better. Can't have 5 or 6 or 7 drops in a game, right? That hurts you. Those are drive killers. So it's things like that'll come out in the wash of this game when you watch the film on Monday that you'll go back and you go, man, if we tweak a couple things, we can beat this football team.
Yeah, man. I'll add on to that about CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson. They both had 26 targets and 18 receptions. I mean, for over 200, almost 300 yards. So if you can get that out of those two guys, and I'm glad they're starting to incorporate Ferg because he, if you have a tight end who can do these type of things, you got to use him as a weapon. But also Jalen Tober, 3 receptions, 49 yards, big catches, right? He had 2 massive catches, actually 3. They all were either a first down or a touchdown. He had the 32-yarder towards the end of the game. He had the first down earlier in the game, and then the touchdown to pull it within 23-28. So, it's good to see him kind of get out there. I'm not sure what the snap count would be, but once again, I talked about this the other day. 3 targets for Michael Gallup, 2 receptions. Should have been 3 receptions. But 3 targets for Michael Gallup, 2 receptions. If it's 3 or low, that's what it needs to be. But it's starting to kind of get to the point where maybe more and more targets need to go to Tober. Not even maybe, 100% more. Because you saw the quickness in his game. You saw kind of that athletic ability. So, involving Tolbert more, Turpin, obviously, with the touchdown. It wasn't a Cooks game, right? But the cool thing is if Cooks is not getting off, that's when somebody else can step up. So this pass offense has found its way. I knew it wasn't going to be a game for running. They rushed for 73 yards. TP, 12 carries, 51 yards. That's about what's been happening of late. And he'll break off a couple decent runs, and he had a couple decent ones, a 15-yard gain on one of them. But it's not like we're really a running team. And like I said, I think this is going to be a team where it's going to be more passing and the runs to complement it, which that's your strength right now, right? And this team doesn't really give up a bunch of runs. But next week, let's see if they can get that a little bit going some more. If not, keep letting CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson and Jalen Tolbert and Kevontae Turpin and Brandon Cooks heat this thing up. So once we get into this stretch run, we kind of got something going here. So I'm with you, man. Continue to get those guys going and clean up some of the things we're talking about.
Giants lost to the Raiders 30-6, and I think Daniel Jones will be out with a knee injury in that game. He went out in this game with a knee injury. So we got the Booty Juice Giants coming up. It's a good game to kind of get back on a winning streak with.
I want Daniel Jones in the game.
Yeah. I don't think it'll have Tyrod Taylor either. It's going to be, I don't even know who the next. Huh?
Tyrod's hurt?
He got hurt last week.
Oh. I mean, I ain't been really following them
this
like that.
This is Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito.
Danny's little son, I guess, huh?
Sure. Yeah.
we'll break all that down. We'll break it down. I think
this is gonna be one of those. This is the week like when you gotta go back and you gotta watch film. You gotta.
I know. See if we got the dub, I honestly would have just been like, "Hey, we watching Philly film all week." You know what I'm saying? We didn't just watch Philly film all week, but man,
hey, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like this game, like when you watch the Carolina game, you just like, come on, man. Like, God,
at least Carolina's a team that we're not familiar with, right?
Right.
Where this team is probably down to their 3rd quarterback. They shipped off Leonard Williams. They just got whooped by the Raiders with Aiden O'Connell. Yeah. But
new head coach. This is gonna be a film that you gotta watch. Like all their film, you gotta go back and watch them. Be like, come on.
Yeah.
And let me stay focused. You need if you have Adderall pills, you need to take Adderall pills to watch this film. So you can stay focused.
Hey, Bobby, help me out here, man.
I know, right? Hey Bobby, let me get 1 or 2 of them things, man. Keep your boy locked in on this game, man.
I just need like 1. I cut it in half. I'll be straight, man. We probably should talk about that. All right, man. That's the BT Furniture Post Game Show. Make sure you guys head on down to any of the 4 locations. For Jesse Holley, Skywalker Still. We'll see you this week on. You're everywhere, man. So let them know real quick before that.
Hanging with the boys. Believe in the Cowboys. A to Z Sports, and then my own podcast, Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. Check that out, man. Really important. Like, subscribe to Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Yep, and come on in tomorrow. We'll be up here, A to Z Sports morning show. Your boy breaking this thing down. Your cousin
should not get an invite. Your cousin should not be getting an invite.
Oh, we don't do cookouts. We don't do cookouts if you lose. But usually, and not say usually, I haven't done it much this year because only twice. We'll have family meetings. So what I don't know if you grew up into some family meetings. Come on down, we got to talk. We'll have some family meetings, and some people need to come on down. And sometimes here's a problem with family meetings: everybody gets called down. You might have did nothing,
right?
But everybody gets called down. So maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. It's not gonna be too many people at the table though, or at the family meeting, but maybe we'll do that. So no cookout. You're gonna get a cookout if you get the L. So that's how we do it, bro. But tomorrow morning, 8:30-ish. We'll be here breaking this thing down, talking to the fans. I know they'll be pretty upset, and I get it, man. This one was ripe for the taking. And then I'll be on Vach's show, and we'll be talking about it as well. So we'll be covering this whole thing all week, and then by Wednesday, we'll have to turn the page and get this nasty taste out of our mouth and go handle business against those New York Football Giants, man. Yeah. All right, for Jesse, I'm Sky. We out here. Peace.
We out.
I'm in my zone, on the road to the Super Bowl.